Crazy lady claimed to be the former owner of my truck, posted by bungee cord throwaway. In 2020, I lost my home in a wildfire and was only left with whatever I could pack up in a Ford Focus during the evacuation. I was renting a basement apartment in a country house and most of my stuff went up in flames. I realized that my car may get good gas mileage, but it's not going to hold a lot of stuff, or, well, tow anything. My landlord evacuated his family in a big GMC truck with a fifth-wheel trailer. He had everything he needed from emergency food storage to backup vehicles. His wife drove another truck out fully loaded with the trailer full of their stuff. They had everything they needed to survive and more. That made me realize that I needed to be better prepared. I had to couch surf for a while, and I could never stay in one place for long because I was a guest and not a tenant. So I ended up living out of a tent in a field with several other people who'd also lost their homes to the fires. It was like a tent village set up by a local charity. The shelters were beyond full, and it's a warm climate, so tents were the next best way to go considering the situation at the time. I managed to get a used but decent sized tent and basically furnished it like a tiny apartment with a cot, small table, and some chairs. I even housed a poker night in it a few times. Though I tried to make sure I didn't leave anything worth stealing in it when I went to work. I was still going to work almost every day and even volunteering for extra shifts. I was saving money since I wasn't paying rent and was living the tent life. And I made up my mind to keep saving to one day buy a truck of my own. Because if this situation with the wildfires or some other disaster ever happened again, I need to be better prepared. Move on to just a few months ago. I put down over a year's worth of savings to buy a used Chevy Silverado 1500 with a canopy already on it. It's got a few dents and a big diagonal scratch across the hood, and the paint is a bit weather worn. But so what? It had a good bit less than 100,000 miles on it and a list of recent repairs that included a new radiator. I'd spent a year living as cheaply as possible to save as much as possible. I wanted a truck and a camp trailer in case the fires ever come back. Some people have tried to call me a hoarder for picking up stuff off the side of the road and then using it, but I don't keep all that stuff at my apartment. In fact, I keep almost minimal furniture. Some remark that my apartment looks like it was just moved into, as I still keep some of my stuff packed in boxes. I want to be able to pack and leave fast if I have to, especially since the world only seems to be getting worse right now. I bought the truck, an ironically silver Silverado. I bought it off a man who looked to be in his 50s that said he has a bad back and can't use it anymore. And he gave me a steal of a deal when I came to get it by dropping the price by $1,000 because he felt that I was clearly in love with it. And I am. I'm very happy with the truck. She drives like a dream. A big, heavy dream, but still a dream. And she was clearly underdriven by the previous owner as it's still not at 100,000 miles. I still kept my old Ford Focus though, that way my fuel costs won't skyrocket. Now let's go to what happened a few weeks after I bought the truck. I was out in the same general area that I bought the truck in to look at a used camp trailer that I was possibly interested in buying. But it ended up being in such bad shape that I turned it down because it was beyond my skills to repair. Before leaving the town, I stopped to eat at a local diner. Great burgers there, by the way. And as I was leaving after having dinner, I noticed a woman who looked to be somewhere in her 40s looking over my truck. I'm not going to use the term Karen to describe this person because I know two women named Karen and they are both fantastic people. So no Karen here, but she did sort of have that look that people associate with the stereotype. I asked the lady what she was doing poking around my truck, and she gave me a side glare while demanding to know where I got it. I said, well, I just bought it a few weeks prior. She rushed up to me and said, I didn't buy it, I stole it. I told her, no, I purchased it from the title owner, so that makes it mine. The lady then rifled through her purse to pull out a smartphone and scrolled through it. And then she showed a photo of a truck in it. I looked at the truck in the picture, and I'll be a monkey's uncle, it was the same truck. The license plate and scratch on the hood were clearly visible, and there was also a man in the photo, the same guy who sold me the truck. When I acknowledged this, the crazy lady started yelling, "See, see," and then demanded I return it to her. She held her hand out for the keys and kept saying to give it back. I told her that I bought the Silverado fair and square off the guy in the photo and that it's my truck now. But she didn't let up. She went and sat on my bumper and called the police. She was heavily exaggerating while talking to the operator or the dispatcher or whatever they call the person on the line when you call 911. I'm not sure. She refused to get off of my truck, so I decided to just wait it out for the police to show up. When police got there, I stayed completely calm, but the crazy lady went off and started working up tears and saying that her truck went missing some time ago and she finally found it. And then she demanded that they arrest me for grand theft auto and get her truck back. I just calmly unlocked the doors, got my insurance card, registration, and license to hand to one of the officers. I told them to just check my documents and they'd see that I am the legal owner. But the crazy lady did not stop. She tried to run to the door of the truck that I'd opened, but I'd relocked it before I shut it. And she tried repeatedly to pull on the handle while telling the police to just arrest me already. One of the officers calmed the lady down while the other ran my information. He came back after a few minutes and said that, well, everything checks out. The crazy lady looked like a British word that I like to use that I can think best described the moment. Gobsmacked. She said that it can't be and demanded the police check again. Then she pulled out her phone to show more pictures of the truck. And I pointed out that the man in one of the photos was the one who sold the truck to me. And I have no idea what relation the crazy lady is to him, but he's the only person I bought the truck from. The police asked her who it was, and she said it was her soon-to-be ex-husband. They were going through a divorce. I pointed out when I bought the truck, her husband's name was the only one on the title. The crazy lady yelled at me that he'd originally bought it for her, and it was missing one day after she came home. All I could do was shrug and say I didn't know that. But her husband was the legal owner before me, and I bought the truck from him. The police told her that I was correct, and it is legally my truck now. The lady went from crazy to just very sad as she cried that it was her truck and he sold it without her permission. I did feel sorry for the woman and said to the police that they may want to do a wellness check on her or something. They said that I was free to go and they would handle the situation from there. When I was getting ready to leave, the crazy lady yelled that she was going to follow me and find out where I live. But the two officers didn't let her do so. I left the parking lot and hightailed it on the highway to get out of there. I later contacted the guy who sold me the truck, and he admitted that the crazy lady is his soon-to-be ex-wife. She cheated on him for the second time, and it was the final nail in the coffin for their marriage. The truck was always in his name only, and that woman had signed a prenup when they married. So the divorce was not going in her favor. It's been months now, and that lady has not found me again. So I'm probably in the clear as long as I avoid the area that I bought the truck in. Though, for all I know, she's not even living there anymore since her husband divorced her. Oh, P, my goodness, so you went through this terrible time, you came out ahead, saved the money, got the truck, everything looked great, and then crazy lady comes aboard, and it's like, oh my goodness, threatening the police and everything. You don't expect that after you illegally buy a truck, and then you finally find out that the other guy was the owner, the lady was telling the truth, partially, and then they take care of her for you, and then you get to go off on your own way, and everything works out in the end. Good job, OP. I'm sorry you went through all that stuff, and I'm glad you came out on top in the end. Remember, the Austin Stories podcast is available on all your favorite podcast platforms, so check me out on there as well. Karen says I should be lucky. What? Posted by Bobby Senpai. So it's a bit of a backstory. I have many years under my belt of building custom computers and have built a name for myself in my town as a guru. A friend started that name years ago. I've always been intimate, anything tech, and now I freelance AI, apps, security, and repairs, graphic design for games, programming games, web design and development, and my favorite is custom builds per user. I have a few questions I ask people that want a custom build from me, and I'll explain that later, as it helps me decide on the parts and the upgrades to the hardware down the line if so chosen to do so. So I work from home as I don't own a storefront, and I work solely alone. I also don't make as much as you'd expect from custom builds. Also, I'm pretty patient with people since I'm used to customer service and have taken care of my special needs brother and sister. So, with that out of the way, here we go. I was at home working on a server for a local small mom and pop place when I received the call from Karen. I answered, and she started off rather nice, but that was about to change. She said it was her son's 15th birthday and wanted to get him his dream game computer, and that I was highly recommended by her friend. Always a bit of a boost to hear people recommending me. That's when I started to ask my questions. I first asked about budget. She said $2,000. Second, I asked her if he planned to stream videos, make his own stream content, or make YouTube videos. Well, she didn't know. I told her, well, that's okay, but if he did, I'd need to know or we can plan for that. She said, let's plan for it. Third question was, what games did he like or what was he planning to play? She didn't know, and why the heck I'm so interested in what her kid does. Well, I explained that games have different settings for graphic quality at different resolutions, and then I explained frame rates to her as well. She said just pick what I think would be best and not be picking in her son's life. I had to explain the questions are so that I can build him the best PC for his uses. She accepted this, and we went on. Third question was if there was Ethernet or will he be using Wi-Fi. She yelled over the phone, saying what, so I can hack her or something? Apparently, she thinks that knowing this allows me to hack her, and why would I? I had to explain again that this was so I could include a Wi-Fi card or a motherboard that has Wi-Fi capabilities, as some come out of the box ready for it. She was mumbling something but said fine, and if she gets hacked, I get sued. I told her that I don't hack people, I just need to know so I can spend more or less on parts. She then said, no more questions, just do it. I told her that I asked these questions to better provide the correct parts and PC services that I can, as this allows me to build to the user. She said, well, I think you have enough information now, just do it. I was thinking I literally don't have the information, as she didn't know. Maybe it was a surprise for her kid, I thought, and she didn't want to give it away. Now I think she just didn't know her kid. So I just took the most popular games and moderate graphics into account. I gave her the price, which was just over $1,900. Now, mind you, the price of GPUs or graphics processing units were coming down around this time, but they were still high. I always charge a $100 build fee, so her total was just over $1,900 with that fee. She then told me I tried to get every penny and Walmart has them cheaper at around $1,000. I explained to her, yes, but they are using older hardware and games are always advancing, that this allows him to play any modern title and future ones as well. She then asked if that was the monitor, keyboard, mouse, and desk with lights. If only she would have let me finish my questions before. I explained, no, this was just the computer, as she never stated she wanted all of that with the price. I tried to explain that my questioning is all about the build itself first, then the peripherals, but I never got to it as she exploded in a rage, telling me I was a scammer and how her son was going to build his own games and be more successful than me, and that I should be lucky to build a computer and do it for free since he will be famous one day. I stayed calm as normally, as I would have snapped at treatment like this and just hung up. But I have a soft spot for people who want to learn tech, and it was the kid's birthday. So I told her that there was no need for such words. Then she said, I'm telling everyone who you really are, Mr. Scammer, and hung up. The next day, I got a call from her husband. Oh boy, I thought that when he told me who he was. However, he was very nice. I went through my process again, and the computer was to be a surprise. I then asked if they wanted, I could build the PC with their son and teach him, or both, or all of them, how to do it. It's something that I do so they can upgrade or get a small head start on learning. He loved the idea. And the day came, and apparently I was an idol to the kid, as his youth pastor has a custom Marvel case that I built for his computer, which is who recommended me. The mom, though, was just silent and never said a word. Me, the kid, and his dad all had fun as I taught them, but the mom just didn't join. They even spent more at the husband's request, as he wanted his kid to have the best. He tried to pay me more, but I refused, as I don't charge more than $100 per build unless I'm driving further away for a build to be done in person. I did get a bad review on my store's Facebook, but no one paid attention. I guess a Karen is still a Karen. This story hits because this lady was trying to do something nice for her son, gets these paranoid delusions that make absolutely no sense when he was explaining everything, and the dad comes in, does right by the son, and then the son loves him, the dad does, the referral does, everybody does except for, well, the Karen, right? And a negative review after all of that, really? You saw your son was pleased with the results, happy as he could be, and the husband too, and still you do it. This, my friends, is a Karen, and I'm sorry, OP, but I do like the story, do you? I ruined evil Karen's wedding, marriage, and life. Click the video on your screen so you don't miss this insane story, and I'll see you there.